Hey, I'm Marco. I've spent months analyzing European investing platforms, specifically the ones that are actually regulated. Today, I'm walking you through my full hypothetical €10,000 allocation, where it goes, why it goes there, and what makes each piece worth trusting. Let's get into it.
Hey, I'm Marco. Here's a question I keep coming back to. If you had 10,000 euros sitting in a savings account right now, earning maybe 0.5% per year, what would you actually do with it? Not what sounds good in theory, not what makes a great pitch. What would you actually deploy across platforms you've personally checked with structures you genuinely understand? I've spent months digging into European investing platforms, specifically the ones that are actually regulated, not just claiming to be. Today, I'm walking you through my full hypothetical 10,000 euro allocation, where it goes, why it goes there, and what makes each piece of the structure worth trusting. A significant chunk goes into European SME business lending, with Maclear as the cornerstone. Every platform in this allocation sits under European regulatory frameworks, no exceptions. Let's walk through it.
Here's the reaction most people have when they see 12 to 15% annual returns on Eastern European SME loans. That must be a scam, or you're taking on serious undisclosed risk. I had the same reaction. So I try to understand the underlying economics rather than just dismissing it. Here's what's actually happening in these markets. Traditional banks in Eastern Europe, Poland, the Baltics, Romania are notoriously slow. Their approval processes can take weeks or months. They want significant collateral, often more than a growing business actually has. And their products are built for large corporates, not the SME segment that drives most of the regional GDP. So you have a class of businesses that are genuinely profitable. They're winning contracts, expanding operations, building real cash flows. But when they need working capital to fulfill a large order or bridge financing to hit a milestone, they can't get it quickly from a bank. These companies are happy to pay a premium for speed and flexibility. That premium is what flows to investors on platforms like Maclear. It's not because the businesses are desperate or failing. It's a liquidity premium, the price of fast, flexible capital in a market where the banks simply won't provide it on a useful timeline. The 12 to 15% you see on Maclear is not a risk premium masking a failing borrower. It's the market rate for exactly this type of short-term, fast disbursement business credit in these specific geographies. When you understand that, the return makes complete sense and the risk profile looks very different. If you've spent any time in European peer-to-peer lending, you know the classic pitch: don't worry about defaults, we have a buyback guarantee. The platform promises to repurchase any loan that goes past due beyond a certain point. I used to find that reassuring. Then I looked at what happened to platforms that made that promise during difficult market conditions. The guarantees held exactly as long as the platforms themselves held. When things got hard, the guarantees evaporated alongside the companies. Maclear approaches this completely differently, and it's the main reason I choose them over a standard buyback platform. The first layer is regulation. Maclear operates under Swiss law en rate, specifically the Swiss Code of Obligations, Article 401, and is supervised by FINMA through its membership in Polyreg, a Swiss self-regulatory body. Client assets are legally segregated from platform assets and are protected in bankruptcy proceedings. This is not a registration, it's a hard legal separation between your money and the platform's operational finances. The second layer is the provision fund. This isn't a generic default buffer, it's a payment stability mechanism. If a borrower hits a temporary cash gap or processing delay, the fund covers the investor payment on schedule without waiting for the borrower to resolve the situation. The fund is built from a 2% commission on every loan and a 2.5% fee on secondary market sales. It grows proportionally as the platform scales. The third layer is the collateral agent mechanism. And what's important to understand here is that Maclear itself acts as the collateral agent. If a delay escalates to a full default beyond what the provision fund can cover, Maclear takes on the legal management of the recovery process directly. They file foreclosure, manage the liquidation of the collateral asset, and distribute the proceeds to investors proportionally to their investment. This is not marketing language. It is a structural difference that changes what happens when things go wrong.
So now that you understand why the returns make sense, let me walk you through the protection model, because this is where Maclear is structurally different from every standard buyback platform I've looked at. 3 layers, and none of them depend on the platform's balance sheet staying healthy.
One of the features I'd specifically look for when evaluating individual loans on Maclear is their stages financing model. Once I understood how it worked, it became the first filter I apply to any project I'm considering. In a standard loan structure, the platform releases the full amount to the borrower at closing. The borrower gets the €1,000,000 on day one, and investors are immediately exposed to the full principal. If something goes wrong early, and things can go wrong early yet, the entire amount is already deployed. Maclear's stages model works differently. The total loan is disbursed in tranches, typically 4 equal installments. The borrower only receives the next tranche after demonstrating they've hit a specific pre-agreed milestone. This might be a signed delivery contract, a verified revenue target, or a confirmed permit. It's independently checked before the next disbursement is released. Think about what this does for investors. At any given moment, your exposure is limited to the tranches already released, not the full loan commitment. The business has a direct financial incentive to perform at every stage, not just at the beginning when the money is fresh. And the platform has a natural checkpoint to reassess before deploying more capital. If the borrower misses a milestone, the next tranche doesn't release. It's a structural safeguard that's built into the loan mechanics themselves, not just the platform's policies. That alignment between business incentives and investor protection is genuinely unusual in lending. People ask about sign-up and investment bonuses a lot, and it's a fair question. If a platform is offering you extra cash to invest, where is that money actually coming from? The honest answer is customer acquisition cost. Every platform that wants to grow needs to bring in new investors. The standard approach is paid advertising, Google, Meta, YouTube pre-rolls. A well-run campaign might cost 300 to 500 euros for each new investor they successfully acquire and fund. Maclear's bonus structure takes that same budget and routes it directly to you instead of to an ad network. You receive the equivalent of their customer acquisition spend as a welcome bonus or an investment return boost. Economically, it made sense for both sides. They acquire a real investor with a real funded account, rather than a click that might or might not convert. You get a guaranteed return stacked on top of your regular yield. Both parties are better off than they would be in the advertising alternative. On a €10,000 allocation, this meaningfully increases your effective first-year return without changing the underlying risk profile at all. So that's how I'd actually deploy the 10,000. 40 to 45% goes into Maclear, spread across multiple SME loans. I'd filter specifically for projects using stages financing with independent collateral backing. That combination gives me the structural protections I want before I even look at the yield number. The remaining 55% I'd split across 1 or 2 other regulated platforms for geographic and sector diversification. Different loan types, same standard of oversight. I'd pass entirely on any platform that leads with buyback guarantees as its primary safety argument. A guarantee is only as good as the entity behind it, and that entity's balance sheet is not verified in real time. The goal here isn't to chase the maximum possible yield, it's to build a position where the structure of each investment is working for you before defaults even enter the conversation. If you want to explore Maclear's current bonus structure and active loan projects, the link is in the description at markerschwartz.com/Maclear. Thanks for watching. If you want to explore Maclear's current bonus structure and active loan projects, the link is in the description at marcoschwartz.com/Maclear. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.